Next question says, can you explain the animation cancelling that you and most streamers perform by quick swapping weapons after each shot? Yeah, sure. It's actually, I really need to clarify this. It's not an animation cancel per se. Because if you fire, say, a label, and then you swap to your pistol and fire, and then you swap back to your label, you still need to chamber your bolt. It doesn't cancel the bolt chamber. You still need to chamber the bolt for the next round. You still have to wait for that. You don't cancel the chamber and all of a sudden you swap back and you can fire again. You still need to chamber it. Same thing with the Winfield, the same thing with the Vitelli, the same thing with the Mosin. You know, that's just how it works. You fire the weapon, and if you swap to a pistol and you swap back to your main weapon, you still need to pull the bolt back. That's still a thing that you need to do. So it's less an animation cancel, and it's more to, that's for your primary anyway, it's more to finish up with a secondary weapon. So if I hit someone with my Sparks rifle at 50 meters, it's a lot quicker for me to swap to my pistol and hit them with a second shot than it is to reload my 3-second Sparks. The same deal with my label, even though that chamber's pretty quick, it's a lot faster for me to hit you with my label, swap to a pistol and kill you than it is to chamber a second round and then hit you with my label. It's a lot faster. Quick switching is always the way to do it, and most veteran players will do that. The animation cancel, however, does work on a pistol. If you fire a pistol, if you start with your pistol out, you can fire your pistol, swap to your main weapon, and then swap back to your pistol and fire it again. You can fire 3 rounds in quick succession, relatively. It does cancel the animation on like an uppercut single action pulldown. It does cancel that to some extent, but at the same time it would be to fire the weapon, swap weapons, and come back to it is about the same time. So you're canceling an animation for something that you don't really need to. Basically, if you're just going to keep firing your uppercuts, right? Like if you have a Sparks and you've shot your Sparks and you swap to your pistol and you fired and you swap back to your Sparks and swap back to your pistol again, don't bother, right? It would have taken the same amount of time. So that's what it's for. It's mainly to secure kills. Next question says, when should I go for the knife to secure a kill? In my opinion, literally always. Literally at all points. If you've watched me at any point, you know that I go for knives a lot. And hopefully Nessa will attach a clip here of me going for a lot of knife kills. Because my goodness, do I like my knife kills.
3 of them just die?
Yep.
Did you really just melee 3 people?
I sure did. In reality, though, going for a knife kill is super risky, but I go for it whenever I'm within a certain distance, and that distance is usually about 10 to 20 meters, and I feel like I can cover that distance and kill you before you can kill me. It's a play that I usually make when I'm on full health. You fired your weapon, and I know you haven't reloaded. So if I'm playing against someone and they have a Sparks and they have a pistol, and I've identified beforehand somehow that they don't have fanning, and you fire your Sparks at me and miss, and you're within 20 meters, I am charging you with a knife, because you need to either headshot me with your pistol, or you need to get a good 2-tap on me, and if I'm zigzagging, that's very difficult to do. There's no way you can reload that Sparks in time and 2-tap me. You just can't do it. So I'm charging with a knife. I will knife rush people a lot, and it's super effective because people don't see it coming, and you put a lot of pressure on that person when you start knife rushing someone. Their options are they either 2-tap you and kill you, which again, difficult because you're weaving. They either headshot and kill you, or again, also difficult because you're weaving, or they run away from you. And if they run away from you, you pull out your gun and shoot them. So knife rushing is actually very effective, but only within certain distances. The longer you try to knife rush from, the easier it is to knock you down a peg and kill you. Also, the more enclosed the space, right? If you've got room to maneuver around, it's a lot more effective. I knife rush a lot, right? So in answer to your question, when should you go for the knife to secure a kill? Whenever you're within close vicinity and you're confident that you can kill them before they kill you. It's a thing you get a feel for more than a general distance. Next question. What are your thoughts about a frozen swamp map with snow as a sound trap? Absolutely fantastic. Sounds sick, but it'll probably never happen because we are in a bayou and it's all swampy bayou. So having a frozen sound trap, again, sick, but it kind of goes past the aesthetic. So yeah, probably not. Next one. How would you feel about a gun known as the Volcanic Repeating Pistol being put in the game? For reference, the pistol is actually a lever action pistol. They say, I think this pistol could make dual wielding more appealing because they would have potential faster rate of fire, blah, 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 blah. I do not think that is a good idea because historically, that's what, first off, how the devs have balanced the weapons are on their historical, not importance, but their like how they historically would have been in real life. For example, yes, the Dolch or the Mauser pistol was, horrible because of its broomstick handle, but it was a very powerful pistol at the time. The Volcanic Repeating Pistol was actually horrible. It was a terrible pistol. It didn't really do a whole bunch. There's even stories of some man who tried to shoot himself in the head with his Volcanic Repeating Pistol because he wanted to end it and he was done with life. He failed to do that because the bullet failed to even do that successfully, then, sued the manufacturer. There's stories of that. So no, I don't think a Volcanic Repeating Pistol would be put in. And if it was, and even if it was, it would essentially be like a pistol version of a Derringer, which is just, no, let's not do that. Next question. What tips and tricks would you give to someone who has never played Hunt and how to potentially get better at the game? I answer this one a lot, but I'm more than happy to voice it out. What tips and tricks? 100% go to the store, click any of the pistols and rifles and shotguns. In fact, click all the weapons, then click 3D view, and then fire them. Then scroll out with your mouse or whatever the respective button is on your console and fire them. And that will tell you what the weapon sounds like at certain distances. So you're able to find out what a weapon sounds like at 100, 200, 500 meters, etc. Do that so you can learn what each weapon sounds like. And that sounds pedantic, I guess, but doing that allows you to know what people are using and identify it at what ranges. So I'm at the point now where I can hear a weapon and usually, unless they're on the other side of the map, I can tell what weapon they're using, roughly how far away they are from me, and exactly what weapon it is. And it does get difficult sometimes, like it's a Bornheim or a Dolch, because they're both semi-automatic, and they both have a similar, twing to it, or twang, but you can tell the difference between them. That's a huge tip. Definitely do that. Also, don't be afraid to make noise. Do not be afraid to make noise. Obviously, try and be silent if you're starting out, but don't be afraid to make noise. If you have to make noise, just do it. Speed is king in Hunt. Speed is absolutely king, and you want to be able to move, as fast as possible, but as slow as needed, right? So in other words, keep booking it. Just keep crunching out the sprinting. But if you need to slow it down, just know when to slow it down, Next one. Should I buy blood bonds, or is it better to slowly earn those on your own? I mean, I want to support the devs, so definitely buy blood bonds, because yay, support Crytek, because yay, this game will keep developing. But it is actually quite easy to slowly earn them on your own. I crush out my prestiges pretty quickly, and as a result, I get to repeat my weekly challenge. And sometimes if it takes me more than a day, I can repeat the daily challenge too, which is, blood bonds, they add up. Weeklies are 25 apiece, right? And then you get blood bonds for completing missions, and if you're smashing missions out, like, I definitely have purchased blood bonds, but I find that getting actual blood bonds per games, it's pretty easy. Yeah, definitely buy them, but slowly earning them is, a gradual process as well. So a bit of both, I guess. Next question is really good. Are there any tips you wish you knew when you were starting out? Yeah, actually, this is a simple one, but I wish I had known that bosses are essentially minigames. Bosses are essentially minigames in two states. They are either attacking or retreating, or in the Butcher's case, aggressively, pursuing. That's kind of how they work, right? So like the spider, you hit enough, and then it goes into a berserk mode, and then it chases after you, and it makes a noise when it enters that berserk mode. And then when that noise is made, you need to identify that and then run away from it, because it takes like 95% less damage, and you're just not going to kill it, so run away from it, right? But then when it makes a noise again, you know to engage it again. The Butcher goes into a berserk mode as well. He starts swinging his weapon around and takes less damage. But then he makes a noise again, and he stops swinging his weapon around, and then you can attack him again. The assassin has a clone mode, and in those modes, they actively attack you. But otherwise, they're pretty passive, and in the spider's case, it runs away and maybe spits at you, maybe jumps at you, if it hasn't been hit within a duration. Assassin, same deal. Butcher will always run at you and hit you, but it plods so slowly you could just out-sprint it. So knowing when I began that I don't need to be all offense at these bosses at all times, and I don't need to be running at all possible times, knowing that, there's an ebb and a flow to the boss fights, sort of. You attack them, they go into aggressive mode, you run away, they go into passive-ish mode. I wish I'd known that starting out, because a lot of the times I went full aggro on these bosses and then just got wrecked. So yeah, knowing that was a big one. Also, knowing actually how far noise travels is another one. Knowing how far away you can see crows. Like, you might not be able to hear crows ages away, but if a hunter's paying attention, you can definitely see them flying away in the sky. So that's another one as well. Yeah, knowing how far noise travels. I've kind of answered this at length, but really quickly, like a derringer, for example, you can hear a derringer. Like, theoretically, you can hear a derringer from like 400 meters away, but you won't, because in-game ambient sound and noise will cover up the 400 meters. In reality, though, you can hear a derringer from like 100 meters, 120, maybe even 200 meters away in-game, like, no problem. So the derringer, like, people are like, oh, it's so quiet. It's not. You can still hear it. Next, dual wielding versus fanning. For what purpose is one preferable over the other? Literally fanning at all points, always. I will never use dual wielding outside of a meme build, or if I really absolutely positively want to feel like a gunslinging cowboy. Pretty easy answer. Fanning is the superior option. The reason why not dual wielding is because landing shots at range with consistent accuracy will always be better than the extra firepower, and maybe I hit them, maybe I don't, that dual wielding brings. Thus, fanning is the winner. That is the purpose. If someone's close range, fanning them down, better. If someone's mid-range, being able to consistently land a shot and then maybe a second, or a shot and get to cover, better. Staying out in a shooter's line of sight and going bang, 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 and hoping more than 2 of those bullets connect with your dual wielding is very risky, right? Dual wielding can be good with certain pistols like the packs, but by and large, I'm going to take fanning, right? I'm just going to take fanning. And I'm also going to take like a single uppercut over a dual pistol. There's not a single dual pistol build that I would take over a single slot pistol. And with the exception of like the Nagant, like the baseline Nagant pistol. Like, that's the only thing that I would take a dual wield over, right? You get me? Not much. Wow, you know what? There's actually more questions than I thought. Like, a lot more questions. And this is going a while. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually wrap this up here, and I'm going to probably do another one of these in the future, because I just realized I've got so many more questions to go, and I think I'm almost at the half-hour mark. Wow, that's a lot. You guys are awesome. Yeah, hopefully that answered some of the questions, not all of them, but yeah, thanks so much for asking them. If there are more questions you want to ask, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or join the Discord and link them there in the Hunt Showdown Q&A panel, and I will do my best to address them in the next video. You can find me live 6 days a week at twitch.tv/Geef. Pretty easy to find. I play a lot of Hunt Showdown, a lot of other games as well, but primarily Hunt Showdown these days. I've got a slight addiction to it. Yeah, thanks for coming. Hope this answers your questions, and I'll see you next time. Okay, cool. Bye-bye.